Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into Valentine's Day?
Always.
Well, this time, we're ditching the usual chocolates and roses and going global.
Oh,
You probably think you know Valentine's Day, but trust me, you're going to be surprised by what we found. We dug into all sorts of research and articles to find some really interesting facts and perspectives on how different cultures celebrate.
that sounds pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows the whole St. Valentine's story, right?
Yeah, the Roman priest who defied the emperor's marriage ban for soldiers.
Right. But it's wild how that turned into what we see today.
Yeah, it really is. St. Valentine was executed on February 14th. And it's kind of a mystery how we got from there to a day all about love. Historians are still trying to figure that out.
And then there's the whole commercialization thing.
Oh, yeah, can't forget that.
I mean, do you feel like Valentine's Day is too commercialized?
I can see both sides, honestly. Some people feel like it really takes away from the true meaning of the day and turns it into a huge pressure fest to buy gifts. But others see it as a fun way to show your love. That's what's so interesting about it. You get such a range of opinions. But hey, did you know some countries don't even focus on romance for Valentine's Day?
Oh, really?
Yeah. In Finland and Estonia, they celebrate it as Friendship Day.
Friendship Day.
Yep. All about celebrating your friends and showing them you care.
Huh. That's kind of cool. Maybe a more inclusive way to do it.
Right. And then you've got Japan. They do things totally differently.
Oh, how so?
On Valentine's Day, it's the women who give chocolate to the men.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And then a month later, the men give gifts back to the women who gave them chocolate. It's called White Day.
So it's like a chocolate debt.
Haha, right. But anyway, those are just two examples. There are tons of different Valentine's Day customs out there.
It's amazing how different cultures can look at the same basic idea in such unique ways.
Exactly. And that's what we love about this deep dive. You really get a sense of how diverse the world is. But hey, before we move on, I'm curious. We talked about the commercialization of Valentine's Day earlier. Do you think all the marketing and pressure to buy gifts actually takes away from the true meaning of the day?
That's a tough one. I do think it can make things feel a little less genuine sometimes, but then again, maybe it just encourages people to show their appreciation more. It probably just depends on how you look at it.
That's true. And, while we're on the topic of expressing love, we found so many different Valentine's Day messages and quotes. It's wild how many ways there are to say, I love you.
Seriously.
We've got the classic romantic ones like, every day with you feels like Valentine's Day.
Oh, yes, the classics.
And then you've got the funny ones like, roses are red, violets are blue, love stinks, but not with you.
I like that one.
Right. And let's not forget those all-important self-love messages. Things like, Happy Valentine's Day to me because I deserve all the love too.
Right. Can't forget about self-love.
Absolutely. But you know what? We're just getting started. When we come back, we'll dive into even more fascinating Valentine's Day traditions from around the world. You won't want to miss it.
Definitely stay tuned. It's going to be a wild ride.
Okay, so we've talked about Finland, Estonia, and Japan. But get this, Ghana celebrates Valentine's Day as National Chocolate Day.
Oh, wow. Makes sense though, right?
Yeah, they're one of the biggest cocoa producers in the world. And they have a whole festival dedicated to chocolate.
That's pretty cool. Combining a national holiday with Valentine's Day.
Right. All right, next up is South Korea. And this is where it gets really interesting.
Oh, so.
They have not one, not two, but 12 Valentine's Day celebrations throughout the year.
Wait, 12. You're kidding?
Nope. Each month has a different romantic theme. Like in January, they celebrate Diary Day, where couples exchange diaries.
Wow. Okay, so what about the other months?
Well, there's Rose Day, Kiss Day, Hug Day. It's like they've got a whole year of romance planned out.
That's a lot of pressure. Do you think it makes it more or less romantic to spread it out like that?
Good question. It definitely makes you think. It's so different from how we do things here. Anyway, let's move on to Denmark. They've got a super romantic tradition.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is it?
Instead of roses, they give each other pressed white flowers called snowdrops.
Ah, that's so sweet.
And they also send anonymous lovers cards with funny rhymes on them. And if you can guess who sent you the card, you win an Easter egg.
Ooh, an Easter egg. That's hilarious.
I know, right? It's like a Valentine's Day scavenger hunt. But you know what's funny? Valentine's Day wasn't a big deal in the US until the mid-1800s.
Really?
Yeah. This woman named Esther Howland started making and selling these really fancy Valentine's Day cards, and they just blew up. She's basically the reason we have Valentine's Day cards today.
Wow, the mother of the American Valentine.
Yeah.
That's quite a legacy.
Right. It's amazing how much impact one person can have. So I'm curious, After seeing all these different traditions, do you think they add to the feeling of love, or do they kind of create more pressure and expectations?
I think it's probably a bit of both. Traditions can be a nice way to show love,
Yeah,
but yeah, they can also lead to a lot of pressure, especially with all the marketing and stuff.
exactly. Maybe the best way is to find a balance between honoring traditions and finding your own unique ways to express love. And speaking of expressing love, remember all those Valentine's Day quotes and messages we talked about? They really show how many different ways there are to say I love you.
Totally. From super romantic to funny to self-love. It's all there.
Wow, so we've really gone all over the world with this one.
We have, from Ghana to South Korea to Denmark.
It's amazing how many different ways there are to celebrate Valentine's Day. But now I kind of want to bring it back home a bit, get a little more personal.
Okay, sure.
What about you? Do you have any favorite Valentine's Day traditions?
I'm not really one for big showy stuff, but I do love just spending a quiet evening with my loved ones.
Yeah.
Just talking, connecting, making memories. That's what really matters to me.
I totally agree. It doesn't always have to be about fancy dinners or expensive gifts.
Exactly.
It's the thought that counts.
And the effort.
Right. Like even just a handwritten note can mean so much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or just taking the time to really listen to someone.
Being present. Those things make a big difference.
Definitely. And those are things we can do all year round, not just on Valentine's Day.
Totally agree. Love and appreciation shouldn't be limited to just one day.
Exactly. It's about making those small efforts every day to show the people in our lives how much we care.
And it's not just about romantic love either.
Right.
It's about appreciating all the different kinds of love in our lives. Our friends, family, even our community.
That's one thing that really struck me while we were researching all these different traditions.
What's that?
No matter how different the customs are, it all comes back to that same basic idea of love.
It's true. Love is a universal language.
And I think that's a beautiful thing.
It really is.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for our deep dive into Valentine's Day around the world.
It's been quite a journey.
I hope you learned something new and maybe even feel inspired to celebrate love in a whole new way.
And to all our listeners out there, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy